Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the BOOM. Of course, I am your host with the most, as always, Cam G. The man to the right of me is my co-host at this time, Mr. Phil Khan. Looks a little different tonight. Mike, moving forward, is having some scheduling issues and whatnot have you. There's Mike. Mike's right there.
It's not scheduling issues. See, here's the thing: is as y'all know, I'm back to work now, and I started a pretty late time during the day, and I didn't get home till like 15 minutes before Dynamite ended tonight, like 10, 15 minutes. So I didn't see the show tonight. So there's going to be nights where I'll be here on screen talking wrestling, Dynamite, but there's going to be times where I'm not, like tonight. So you don't have to deal with seeing my ugly mug tonight or hearing me. So.
But Mike is here. He is still handling his producer duties backstage, so he's still here with us as well. But yeah, I'm here with it's just the duo tonight with me and of course Phil Khan. But Phil, we are joined here for another Wednesday night. Of course, we know what that means. AEW Dynamite, here to talk about and break down AEW Dynamite. But before I get into that, how is your Wednesday evening going?
Yeah, man. It was a solid Wednesday. We just go through the motions as we normally do throughout the wrestling week. Um, you know, it's hard. It's hard out here when it comes down to just going through what we had to endure ourselves over the course of the last couple of weeks as we went through the final stretch on the road to WrestleMania. I did a lot of content throughout that week, and I'm exhausted. And then you just kind of go through the rest of the weeks after WrestleMania is said and done. You think everything's going to slow down, right? No, not by any means. And then when you actually have to cover another professional wrestling show that literally does stuff completely different than what WWE does or anything of that nature, you think it would be kind of refreshing to do something completely different, something completely out of the norm than what you're normally used to on a Monday, Friday, Tuesday night if you cover NXT. But it's kind of just more of the same, more professional wrestling. Whether the storylines hit with you or not, that is up in the air for how you realistically feel about the product. But overall, you just go through the motions of it all. And you just see what hits, you see what doesn't, and you kind of formulate your own thoughts and opinions on it. So you just go through it all and see what really sticks. But overall, I had a solid Wednesday, and I was interested to see what Dynamite had in store for us, considering we had 4 championship matches. But again, we go through the motions and we just see what AEW gives us. So yeah, that's just how I felt the whole entire day.
Yes, we got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 championship matches. So it was almost like a super card tonight.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
jam-packed card. I looked at the card earlier today. Normally, I look at the card and just sheer disappointment. But I mean, the card didn't look half bad tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, a lot of championship matches, so they definitely jam-packed this show. But without further ado, we're going to get into Dynamite tonight. We kick off the top of the hour. And, of course, they're detailing how last week played out with MJF trying to bargain his way back into getting back the AEW World Championship, getting back the Triple B with a TNT Championship match against Kevin Knight, which is what we got tonight. So the opening match was MJF versus Kevin Knight for the TNT Championship. I thought this was really good. I said if the rest of Dynamite in terms of matches is like this, it's going to be a pretty solid episode of Dynamite. So I really like this. I love the story of, Kevin Knight, eventually at some point during the match, his knee buckling and that kind of being the story, how that played out with the injured knee. They definitely played into that a lot. I definitely like that as well. At one point, I mean, he hit the UFO from the top rope, but was unable to make the pin due to the injured knee. Great stuff there. Like I said, just great selling and great story in-ring storytelling, what they did there as well. I was kind of thinking this could go either way. I mean, MJF doesn't need the TNT Championship, I don't think. Taking the title off Kevin Knight doesn't really do Kevin Knight any favors. But I thought maybe it could add just a little bit more intrigue into a rematch with him and Darby Allin. Now it'd be like a winner take all. TNT Championship on the line, AEW World Championship on the line at Double or Nothing. So I thought that could have been an interesting element, and they still could technically do it, depending on what we get next week with Darby and Kevin Knight. But I'm jumping ahead here. But again, like I said, that was a fantastic match. Again, Kevin Knight is the one that retains the TNT Championship. That's a huge win for him, since seeming he didn't beat MJF originally for the World Championship when MJF was the World Champion. So that's huge for him. So right now, I think he's in a good position. I think his TNT Championship reign thus far is not bad. I think this is probably even a little bit better, I think, than Kyle Fletcher's, because Kyle Fletcher's was just kind of going in circles. Like it really really wasn't pushing the envelope or really pushing that championship, other than the fact that they made it look fancy with giving it a pink strap. That was about it. But this TNT title run feels fresh, feels new, feels like they're actually going somewhere with it. I don't know how long they really run with Kevin Knight as TNT champion, or what we do when Kyle Fletcher gets healthy. My thing is, I think he's done with the TNT title. I think he needs to be pushed to the main event scene.
Yeah, he needs to get out of there.
I think he's ready for that. I think he's beyond the TNT championship scene. But this was great. After the match, of course, MJF is still demanding his rematch from Darby Allin, which Darby Allin came out after the match as well, because MJF attacked Kevin Knight after the match. And Darby says no. Darby says not until you put something on the line that's of some kind of value. You have to sacrifice or give up something for me to give you or grant you your rematch for the AEW World Championship. Brody King comes out as well. And of course, they're previewing their match for tonight. And he obviously is making the claim that he's going to become the new world champion and walk out of the main event tonight as a new world champion. And that Kevin Knight will not be the one to challenge Darby Allin, because Darby Allin also alluded to giving Kevin Knight a championship match next week. So right. Brody obviously says you will not be facing Darby Allin. You'll be facing me next week for the AEW World Championship as I walk out tonight, the new AEW World Champion. So a lot going on, a lot of moving parts here. Let me get your thoughts on the opening match.
Yeah, so I loved this opening match here. I was very much in the kind of same boat as you, as it could have gone either way. MJF winning the TNT Championship tonight, if that were to happen, it would be like a little bit of a nice side quest type of deal for him, because obviously it's not like the main goal of what MJF is trying to go for here. But I think it would have added a little bit of an interesting kind of dynamic for a character like MJF, because MJF realistically is not somebody that you would think would be going after some sort of quote unquote mid-card championship. And it's not that Kevin Knight can't be looked at as like some sort of main event type of caliber superstar. I mean, he went in there with MJF, he held his own, and he really did well against this guy. Okay, so Kevin Knight really is somebody that they could get behind if they realistically wanted to. But this was a solid match, and Kevin Knight won in a way that made sense, especially competing against MJF, who won with the low blow. Everything kind of worked out in that kind of favor after MJF tried to use the championship and the Dynamite diamond rings. So there was a lot of good things that happened in this match, especially for somebody like Kevin Knight. Darby Allin's involvement in all of this made sense as well. Came down from the rafters, good old Sting days. I love that. Hit the Scorpion Death Drop. So shout out to you, Stinger. And whatever MJF is going to have to put on the line in this match against Darby, when the match ultimately does get official, because I do believe that it will be Darby and MJF for the world title come Double or Nothing. Keep in mind, we are still a month away from this to even take place. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to have to be something big, because if it's just for the Dynamite diamond ring as well, I don't think that's something that would fit Darby in a sense. But something's going to have to give. And one way or another, that world title will be on the line at Double or Nothing between those two.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really think of is one of them walks. I don't know. Maybe MJF is putting his AEW career on the line. I don't know. But I feel like that's too... I don't know. Maybe
I feel like that's
maybe
just too
cliche.
on the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just too cliche, and I think it's too close together to what Hangman pretty much just did. I mean, he pretty much put his AEW main event status on the line and lost it. So it's like, we've already kind of done this. I feel like that's kind of going back to the one too many times. Plus, on that same show, we've got Copeland and Christian doing the exact same thing pretty much. They're going to be forced to retire if they
their
lose
career
to FTR.
as a tag team on the line. So like it's you can't be doing too much of the same thing.
Yeah,
but
so I don't know. It's just
mainly
too much.
Sometimes that happens in AEW. So
yeah, unfortunately. So I don't know. We'll definitely have to see there what's it going to take, for Darby to grant MJF the rematch for the World Championship. So we'll definitely have to see when we get there. The next thing we saw, of course, speaking of Copeland and Christian, we saw Copeland and Christian backstage with Renee. Of course, Christian is dealing with a slight injury to the forearm as he is sporting a cast.
They said it was broken. So, I don't know if
I don't
know. Broken or not.
I don't know.
They're telling a story with it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's gimmicked or I don't know if it's a legit injury. I don't know. But he's definitely sporting a cast right now. But they accepted the stipulation of FTRs to, like I said, they will be forced to retire if they are unable to capture the AEW World Tag Team Championships at Double or Nothing. I think that just raises the stakes here. It just adds more importance to this match. Again, I still think Copeland and Christian, I think they come out of Double or Nothing to new AEW World Tag Team Champions here.
Sure.
And is also another stipulation added to this as well. It is an I Quit match. So that's very interesting to see as well. I don't know. I can't remember any too many tag team I Quit matches. So that's also very interesting as well. So a lot at stake here. A lot of stipulations on the line here, not just the AEW World Tag Team titles. So they definitely have made this a lot more intriguing, a lot more interesting. So I can appreciate that for what it is. And I definitely like a little jab from Edge to Christian, like, the last time you were in an I Quit match, if you remember, 2 years ago, I won that. So given your history with I Quit matches, I don't know if that's smart for you to accept.
It's very quick of you to accept it.
Yeah. So I don't know how smart that is. So
and then he ensured Renee that he's going to say I quit. So
he ensured Renee he's not going to quit. So
in my eyes, my father did not quit 2 years ago. Okay, my father did not quit. Christian Cage is my father. My name is Phil Cage, and I approve that message. So there you go.
There you have it.
But yeah, no, I mean the I Quit match is a different kind of. Mike, get out of here. The I Quit match is interesting to say the least. Okay. The I Quit match is very interesting to say the least, and we'll see how that goes. But I definitely do not see a world where Copeland and Cage lose come Double or Nothing. So it'll be a great match, though.
We're next match. We saw the Brawling Birds taking on Emily J and Jordan Blade. They got absolutely demolished here. There was not much of a match realistically. Now, the thing I'm thinking about, of course, is I know we don't necessarily do rankings systems anymore, or we don't really focus too much on records or whatever. But right now you have Divine Dominion just pretty much dominating everybody, looking completely unstoppable. And then I think you have somebody who actually could give them, again, they're probably their biggest threat to their tag team titles, because right now the Brawling Birds are 8-0. After this match, now they're 9-0. So again, that's still not something to just overlook. I get we don't do ranking systems anymore, or we don't really look at the records anymore, but they're undefeated. So that's not something to just kind of ignore. So I definitely think they are, I would say, first in line to get the women's tag team title shot. Again, I think they're probably holding off. They're still kind of feuding with the Sisters of Sin and Tekla and things like that. So I think once they finish that up, there's really nothing else left for them to do unless they start up something else with another team or someone else. I don't know who. I don't really know who. You're running thin. You don't really have many other people for them to really feud with right now. And doing matches like this, I get it, but it's not really progressing them or really making them look any better. I love this tag team, by the way. Like they mesh very well together, but they don't really need these 2-minute, 3-minute squash matches. It's just not doing anything for them. They definitely need to be put at the forefront in doing something more important, like the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles. But again, I think they are kind of biding their time because it's probably too early. Like I said, I think my prediction, because I know we have talked heavily about Will Ospreay and All In and things like that. That's my thing for All In. Them going into All In, Divine Dominion probably still being the women's tag team titles by the time we get to August. That's my prediction. I think they extend this or drag this out, and then we get Divine Dominion versus the Brawling Birds for the women's tag team titles. That's what I think we do for the tag team titles for the women at All In. So it's just kind of a no-brainer at this point. They're 9-0. So get your thoughts on this match, if any. Like I said, wasn't much there. So
the only thing that I thought of when it came down to this match is exactly what you said. We gotta get the Brawling Birds versus the Divine Dominion for the tag team titles at All In. It's the only thing that realistically makes sense. And when it comes down to it, that's the best possible match in this tag team division that you can do when it comes down to the tag team titles on the biggest stage, that being All In for AEW. I mean, it's the stuff that makes sense. And honestly, to me, I understand, like, when it comes down to it, you'd probably want to go for like that big moment of having the Brawling Birds, like, not finally winning the big one, right? Because obviously it would kind of be like their first go at it for the tag team titles. But doing that big moment of having them win on the big stage and becoming tag team champions, you would think that. And most likely that's the way that AEW would go about it. But if you actually had this matchup here between the Divine Dominion and the Brawling Birds, I wouldn't care who won, because I like both of these teams. And honestly, I think both of these teams have realistically done a very good job at kind of representing what the women's tag team division could be for this company. They just got to expand it more, man, because there are some other tag teams in this division that realistically can make these tag team titles look absolutely sick in the grand scheme of what AEW women's division can be. But yeah, you're kind of just pigeonholing it right now, but there could be a lot more for this if they wanted it to.
Speaking of the Sisters of Sin and Tekla, of course, we got a version of them. We got, of course, Sky Blue and Tekla backstage addressing the Brawling Birds. Again, we're still going with this feud. It's been okay. Again, it's not necessarily anything that's setting the world on fire specifically, but it's fine for what it is for right now. If we're getting to that ultimate goal again for the Brawling Birds, and then probably moving Tekla on something else, still wondering when, where, how, why Mercedes Moné comes back, because I think that's the biggest threat to Tekla's world title that she has seen thus far. So I think that's the biggest thing right there, and the biggest question mark.
All In too, realistically.
Probably so. Probably so, because I don't really see it happening before that. I mean, I really don't. I mean, it's possible,
the biggest match you could possibly do for that as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a big money match, so they're probably holding off as well. So who knows? Again, here, like I said, Tekla, I think is just growing on me. I really have not been the biggest fan of Tekla thus far. I think her in-ring work is great. I think she did a great series of matches with Statlander. She put on a banger, I think, with Jamie Hayter at the last pay-per-view. So yeah, I mean, her in-ring work is great. I think it's her promo work or her just gimmick that I just don't understand really. But again, here she had a decent backstage promo. So again, I think she's just getting better and better when I see her on screen doing promos. So she's definitely growing on me. So I didn't really mind this promo here either.
I don't know what she does come Double or Nothing, but honestly, it would not shock me in the slightest if they wanted to just kind of explore another matchup between her and Jamie Hayter, or her or her and Alex Windsor again, maybe, because obviously Alex tried to defend Jamie and everything that happened with the title defense at the last pay-per-view. So it's probably going to be a rematch with either Jamie or the match against Windsor. We'll see. But that's realistically kind of the only thing that I can see right now for her getting a title defense at Double or Nothing, because nothing else realistically makes sense, especially if those two are realistically just going after her anyway. So we'll see. But overall, like what I'm seeing from Tekla, I've been a fan of Tekla. I think her presentation is great. The in-ring work is there. Yeah, sure, the mic is a little bit iffy from time to time, but they saw something in Tekla to put this championship on her. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. So, I mean, they're doing stuff with her, and I'm just glad that they are doing stuff with her instead of just kind of tossing her to the wayside and just making the championship not realistically known to be on somebody for television purposes. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I definitely can't disagree there. They definitely saw something in her, so they didn't waste a lot of time putting this championship on her. So Yeah, like
And
I
that's
said, they
and that's
definitely saw
ultimately
something
what
new.
I liked as well, is because they took a goddamn chance. Like
Yeah,
they
something
took
different.
a
Somebody
chance.
new.
Normally they wouldn't do something like that
No.
so soon. So you have a chance, capitalize on it, and they did.
Yeah. Our next match, which is also a championship match, the international championship match, or international championship, is on the line. Kazuchika Okada versus Ace Austin. Again, I think this was an okay match. It didn't necessarily blow me away or anything like that. Ace Austin, again, I think he definitely impressed me. I think a little bit more in this match. I understand that he can definitely go in the ring. That's not what I'm saying. It's just I think so far in AEW, it just seems as if like he's a fish out of water. Like it's not really meshing very well as opposed to when he was in TNA. TNA just felt like that was just the perfect place for him. In AEW, again, he's just another guy on the roster that I feel like is just kind of getting lost in the sauce. He's not really making much of a splash to me. But this match was decent for what it was. Probably his best match thus far. Okada, again, we know how good Okada is thus far. Man, and I feel maybe this match dragged a little bit, maybe to where I just didn't feel like it needed to be as long. I knew Ace Austin wasn't beating Okada. I mean, there was maybe a moment of time there where I think he hit some suplex Northern Lights-esque move and had Okada's shoulders pinned to the mat, and it was like a very close 3 there. But I didn't think Ace Austin was taking the title off Okada. That would have been the biggest head scratcher this close going into Double or Nothing. Like, no,
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen. The move that easily popped me and got me out of my seat is Okada's leaping drop kick. I mean, he tried to decapitate Ace Austin with that drop kick. That was insanity. What I mean, that man's he just got a beautiful drop kick. It's amazing. So again, like I said, Okada is just Okada. He's going to produce when he's out there. Of course, Okada retains the championship, and then we get Takeshita. Surprise Takeshita coming out at the entrance ramp, and of course, he's just motioning around his waist for the championship, looking at Okada menacingly. I loved that shot. That was a great shot to just see Takeshita just mean mugging Okada from the entrance ramp. So again, these guys, no pun intended, are on a collision course for Double or Nothing. I love the fact that this was the first match made on Double or Nothing. So obviously this match is going to be, I mean, probably bigger, much bigger than MJF and Darby. And that's crazy to think about because that's their world title. But this match, I think, has taken priority over probably anything else. Maybe the tag team title match with FTR and Copeland and Christian, has that similar importance. But man, this we've been waiting so long for this match, and it's finally going to happen. So I think this could be the match of the year easily with these two. So we'll definitely have to see there. I'm very excited to see what we get out of this match. And I'm gonna get your thoughts on this match and just that visual of Takeshita at the entrance ramp.
I don't want to see that match of Okada and Takeshita until we get to like that co-main event type of slot for Double or Nothing. I don't want it anywhere near the middle of the card. I don't want it to kick off the show, even though that would be really cool to see. I think right now we are kind of at that stage to where it's so anticipated to see these two in the ring that obviously your world title is going to be the main event. That's your world title. When it comes down to it, that's your main event. But this match is so anticipated to the point where people just want to see it. And I would make people want to see it more and more and build that anticipation. The match for the championship tonight with Ace Austin was cool. It was fine. I like Ace Austin, but you're right. The man is a man of 1,000 in this company. There's so many people like Ace Austin. I love what Ace Austin does in the ring, but there's just so many people like him in this company, and nobody was thinking that Ace Austin was winning this championship. But overall, the visual of Takeshita being there, pointing to the AEW Double or Nothing logo on the Tron, motioning the title. This title match is going to be big, and I cannot wait for it. So this is going to be a really, really good match to see, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Next up, we pretty much got a short film of sorts. We get this old Western setting. These locals, I guess, are just being beaten up, and then the camera pans around and we see the man who's beating up these locals in this Western setting, and it's Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland then comes across a wanted poster that has Bandito on it. He takes a lighter or some sort of torch from Prince Nana and sets the wanted poster on fire. And then again, the final image, another great visual back to back, is just Swerve menacingly staring at the camera. Like I said, I think this was great. Bandito and Swerve, I don't know how we got here necessarily, but I don't mind it. I think this is going to be a great match. If this is if this is another mid-card match made for Double or Nothing, I think it'll be fantastic. So your thoughts on that? I mean, this was like a mini movie, essentially, a short film. So
yeah, this was cool. I just don't know how the hell we got here. I really don't. You know, maybe something happened on Collision, and my ignorance of me just not watching Collision. You know, my ignorance of just not watching that part of the product is beyond me. But yeah, it's a cool match. I think it would be a really cool clash of styles between somebody like Bandito and Swerve. I think that's a really cool kind of stylistic type of match that we could see. And this has to be happening at Double or Nothing. I don't see why they would kind of like tease something like this if it wasn't going to be like at your big show. But if this was kind of like the jumping point or like kind of like that starting ish type of point for this match, let's see what happens next week, because I gotta see something happening next week. We can't just be doing these little mini movie type of deals. I want to see at least something between these two face to face, including something maybe in the ring. I'm not saying like they actually have to like do a match in the ring or anything like that, but have Swerve be out there on commentary with Nana or Bandito just in the crowd or something, like to do something to build some for this and get more anticipation for this, because this is already intriguing.
Yeah, but
you gotta do a little bit more. So overall, though, really cool visual for this too.
Excellent visual. Like I said, it was like a short film. I mean, I've got two theories, I guess. One would probably be maybe this is the call out. Maybe he's calling him out. Maybe he's calling Bandito out with this short film-esque thing.
Is Bandito maybe a champion of some kind?
I think he's a Ring of Honor champion. I just don't remember what title he's holding.
I mean, obviously, I don't think the world title would be on the line for Ring of Honor, right? We're not going to be seeing Swerve Strickland as a world champion of Ring of Honor.
I don't think so. That'd be a gigantic step back for Swerve, I think.
He is the Ring of Honor world champion. Okay, so yeah, I don't think that would be anything of that. I think it just could be a call out and just
or it's the fact that again he's friends / partners with Brody King, who he also had issues with. So
yeah, it's true.
I don't know. Maybe this is just a ploy to just, I don't know, kind of bait Brody King again. Maybe him and Brody King are not done. I don't know. But the one thing I do know is, like I said, Bandito is on a heck of a run in 2026. The man is allergic to having bad matches. The match he had at House of Glory with Amazing Red was fantastic.
Dude, so, I loved it.
Fantastic. So him and Swerve, hey, take my money, like I said. So we'll definitely have to see the explanation for this. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Next we got Ospreay and Moxley backstage in some sort of Dojo X setting backstage with Moxley and of course the rest of the Death Riders. Last week, Ospreay got abducted by the Death Riders and then offered some sort of ultimatum to basically, hey, you can keep going with this revenge tour of yours against me and continue to break your body down with the style that you're wrestling or whatever, or you can join the Death Riders and we will basically mentor you and I guess mold his style to something different that is more suited, like I said, for the longevity of his career or something of that nature. I don't know. Now, I'm not quite sure where this is going. It's intriguing me slightly,
Yeah.
but I ultimately I think this is just all a ploy. I feel like Osprey is just playing dead and just kind of going through the motions of Moxley's ramblings
Just
and
playing
the
along.
mentorship. Yeah, the mentorship, and then he's gonna find, I don't know what or when this would be, but the prime opportunity to strike and hit Moxley out of nowhere with a hidden blade, and then we get another match out of this, and ultimately Osprey comes out of there. We get the hero's victory. He's finally defeated the evil John Moxley and the Death Riders, and then we move on. That's what I think. Otherwise, Osprey actually joining the Death Riders makes no sense. So
okay,
we'll see. So I'm intrigued, but like a smidge, and I'm hoping this is going where I'm thinking it's going. So, your thoughts on this?
I am intrigued, but I'm with you. This makes no sense if Will Ospreay joins the Death Riders. I don't think it's ultimately going to come to that. When I initially put my thoughts out there, a lot of people were saying, look, Phil, he's not going to join the Death Riders. Don't worry about that. This is all just to get Will Ospreay to where he needs to be, to have that kind of killer instinct, to get to where we all want him to be, and that is AEW World Champion. But my argument to that would be, does he really need the Death Riders and John Moxley, the people that ultimately try to take him out for as long as they did, try to end his career in order to try to get that killer instinct on him? Like, does he really need that? But I think ultimately what I hope is the kind of case with this is that I kind of want to see what you said there of he's playing along to a point to where at the end of the day, he will turn on Moxley. He'll get the win over him because obviously Moxley defeated Will the first time, and you kind of move on the way you need to move on. But I'm hoping that I want your theory, but I also want my theory of like maybe a Mox and Osprey, like Owen Hart Cup match to like kind of like conjoin. So like let's say if like the Owen Hart finals ends up being Moxley and Will, he gets to win on that, and then you go on to go on to All In, and you do the whole thing with that. You kind of nip it in the bud of like you think maybe Osprey's gonna do the same, like the thing that you need him to do, finally take out Moxley once and for all, and he gets to win so that he can go on to All In for the championship. I don't know. This is just really confusing me. I was very confused when I saw the whole entire segment in the first place. I don't want him to join the Death Riders. I think it just makes no sense in order for that to happen. But yeah, there's so much that they can realistically do with this. I don't know, man. It's just so strange the way that they kind of laid this out. Because apparently this has been going on for weeks and I didn't know. Like apparently this carried on a Collision. I had no idea. Like there's so much that they did with this, and I have no idea where we are now.
I don't know what happened on Collision. Maybe this did happen on Collision. I'm not quite sure, but I just know I saw them.
I know there's one promo that happened.
I saw them sitting in basically the same similar setting, backstage, some boiler room or whatever, some dimly lit room, and Mox is sitting in one chair, and then Osprey is sitting in the other chair. It was like
that's
this
the thing that happened on
Batman and Joker type setting, and that's where he basically offered him the ultimatum or whatever. So I don't know. I'm with you. I'm confused too. Again, to factor, I can't even think about the Owen right now. To factor in the Owen to this makes it even more confusing for me. Because I just don't know. I could see maybe him needing the Death Riders a little bit to add maybe a sharper edge to Will Ospreay to get that sharp enough edge to beat Moxley.
Does he need that? Like, does he need that though?
Maybe he feels like he does. Maybe he feels like right now where he's at, he cannot beat Moxley in his current state. I don't know.
And if you're trying to work that in with the whole next situation, I guess I can kind of see where that happens.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I gotta see more. I gotta see more because there's obviously a lot more to this than what I see.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, we'll see what happens with it.
I don't know. We'll definitely have to see. So who knows? It's very confusing right now. The
It's
next thing we
intriguing, though.
have,
I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it's
they got
it's definitely
something with
intriguing.
this.
I mean, the backstage segment itself was, I think, decent. I mean, you have Moxley basically saying like, "Hey, you have to let go of this animosity towards me and things like that. We don't do that here in the Death Riders." Yada yada yada. So it's interesting. Like, it's got
Moxley
me
being
intrigued
the
a little bit.
catalyst of
So
Will Ospreay changing his style in some way, I
yeah,
guess would be an interesting arc. I don't know.
maybe he comes
All
up with
right,
a new finisher based off of the trainings from the Death Riders. I don't know. So who
we'll
knows?
see.
We'll definitely have to see. The next match we had, of course, Copeland and Christian taking on Roppongi Vice. This match was okay. The main thing here was, for me at least, was the conglomeration. I mean, they basically were just like hooded up, seated at ringside in the crowd, and they just like popped up out of nowhere, and then went and took out FTR, which FTR was also at ringside as well, watching this match. Obviously, that makes sense because Copeland and Christian were in this match. They went and they brawled with FTR, taking them out of the equation so they cannot interfere in the remainder of this match. Of course, Copeland and Christian win this match. Now, after the match, I thought this was awkward and kind of just like unnecessary, but I guess it's kind of just driving home the point that they're on a mission and they don't want to lose their careers and stop tagging and blah 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 blah. We've seen Edge do this before, where he takes a steel cage, he takes a steel chair and breaks off the bottom rung and basically puts on like a crippler crossface-esque move
Yeah,
with the metal rung around his opponent's mouth or whatever. Did that to Trent Beretta after the match. So kind of a heelish kind of thing, but I'm not so much looking at it like that. It's just that added edge that I guess they feel like they need, no pun intended, that they feel like they need going into facing FTR at Double or Nothing for the tag team titles, knowing everything that's at stake. So then you have Cage, who's like trying to get, I guess, Trent Beretta to say "I quit." You can't even hear him because he's got the freaking metal rung wrapped around his freaking face. So it was weird. The crowd went dead. Well, I mean, they weren't really making a whole lot of noise anyways, but they went dead silent just to like hear him say "I quit," and it's just garbled because you can't hear what he's saying because he's got a freaking metal rung in his mouth. So when he finally gets that out of his mouth and freaking Copeland stops choking him, and he's like, "Oh, I quit," and the crowd just like goes mild pretty much. I mean, I guess this was just like a moral victory to be like, yeah, this is what we're going to do to FTR.
It was just showcasing that they're not gonna quit and they're gonna try to make FTR quit come Double or Nothing. Like,
cool.
it was a little
this was
bit
probably like my least favorite thing I think I've seen Copeland and Christian do thus far. It was okay. It just it didn't deliver the way I think it was.
It didn't need to happen.
It didn't need to happen. I thought it was just awkward and unnecessary. Like you got the win. You don't need to do all this. This is unnecessary. Other than that, I thought this was a decent match. This is just to keep them fresh and keep them going and have some momentum going for Double or Nothing. After the match, they had a little bit of fun as well because the tag team titles were left at ringside after FTR was chased off, battling with the conglomeration. So you got Christian, and he's on the outside, and he takes one of the titles, and he's like running around ringside, holding up the belt and saying, "I am the champion." Then you pan to Copeland. I guess he had like a popcorn bucket on his head.
He had the popcorn bucket on his head from when Orange Cassidy.
And he's holding up the other title. So
with the
hey, like I said, they're having
popcorn,
fun.
yeah.
Like I said, they're having fun in this stage of their careers. So I can't really be mad at it. It's harmless. It's not really affecting anything storyline wise. Because I would hate this if Copeland comes out next week and he's cutting a promo with a popcorn bucket on his head. Then I'd have an issue. But after that,
or if that was like the lasting image, like if this was the go home show for Double or Nothing, and that was the lasting image, I would have been like, that's a terrible way to end the build to this.
Yeah, that'd have been terrible. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. And of course the post-match thing,
the match was fine. I ultimately think though that if they were gonna be doing the whole conglomeration, in like not interference, but like kind of just like involvement in all of this, I felt like if anything that could have been saved or like the finish of this match. I mean, you do the whole thing with the popcorn, the solid steel popcorn to the head to Stokely, you drive him out of the arena, and then you just have Edge and if I say Edge and Christian, that's on me.
I said Edge already too, so
Yeah.
it's
So
fine.
then you just have those two. After Roppongi Vice are distracted by everything with the conglomeration, you'd have them take advantage. You get the win for CNC, and you get the job done. It kind of felt weird having that in the middle of the match, and then you still have like maybe 5 to 7 more minutes of this match to happen in there. So it is what it is. But yeah, match was fine for what it was, and the aftermath of everything, it felt awkward and out of place, but I understood what they were trying to do. I get it. You're just trying to showcase that it's an I quit match. You made them quit instead, and you're going to do everything you can to get FTR to quit and become tag team champions. That's ultimately what it was. And at this stage of the career, when it comes down to Cope and Christian, I'm just letting them have fun. I'm just letting them have fun. It's just the final run of their career as a tag team. This is the first tag team match they ever had with each other on AEW programming for Dynamite, and they're just having fun with the different kind of dynamic that they have for this tag team, which is very much different than what they had in the past. So it is what it is at this point. So there you go.
We got a backstage segment with Chris Jericho, catching up with Renee. Of course, he gets attacked by the Demand and Ricochet. So again, I think we're probably getting another match. Again, I won't be surprised if this is another match made at Double or Nothing for the rematch. I would assume Chris Jericho probably gets the win here. The next time they are in the ring, whether or not that be a Double or Nothing or not. Again, I still don't really feel much with Ricochet and Chris Jericho's feud. I mean, I guess it's serving a purpose, getting Ricochet the heat that he needs, or they feel like he needs on television, making him a bigger heel than he probably is within the grand scheme of this company. And of course, it's just, making Chris Jericho a bigger babyface. So if you have any thoughts on this and the continuation of Chris Jericho and Ricochet's feud.
Yeah, I'm over it. And realistically, at the end of the day, it did not need to go as long as it has already. I felt like this was kind of I felt like this should have just been a one and done type of deal, because at the end of the day, what else does this feud realistically need to accomplish? You already gave Ricochet the win over Jericho. In the first match, you gave the win to Ricochet over Jericho here. So, I mean, you kind of did what you set out to do. You got Ricochet to win over somebody like Jericho. If you just get another match going for Double or Nothing just to get Jericho his win back, what, you're going to try to extend it again to a third match? You don't realistically need to do a whole kind of series of these matches when you already did what you need to do. No. There's so much more that Jericho can do than just have a match with Ricochet.
Yeah. So
especially on this stage of what he is doing, when he just came back to the company, when everybody and their mother thought he was going to WWE.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that he can do with this instead of just that.
Our next match is another championship match. The women's tag team titles are on the line. Divine Dominion taking on Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. I thought, honestly, Chris Statlander carried this match. She was all over the place. Double Hurricane Ranas, spinning lariats, 450 splashes. She was a maniac in this match. Easily the shining light, I think, this match. So I'm glad to see that she really has not lost what has made her special after losing the Women's World Championship. Because that was my fear, was that she's just going to be shuffled to the back and just gone. We would be questioning what happened to Chris Statlander, much like we were questioning what happened to Camille. So I'm glad to see she's still out there doing her thing. How long this partnership, this awkward pairing with her and Shida last, I don't know. I think they're headed for a feud, honestly, because there's been some friction that I've heard. I don't watch Collision, but I've heard the rumors and I've heard the matches that they've been in. They've had their friction. They worked like a well-oiled unit tonight, maybe because they knew what was at stake. But
what are you talking about, man? She attacked her. Shida attacked her. Shida attacked
during the match.
Yeah, she attacked Chris to ultimately do a move on Megan.
Okay.
She suplexed her into Megan, which I was like, holy shit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The hell was that?
I just mean like neither one of them like walked out on the other.
Yeah. The thing
that's
is, this pairing is not lasting. We know this.
I don't think so either.
It's so not lasting. The fact that I saw that whole entire scenario of her suplexing Chris into Megan, I was like, all right, well, that's a different kind of dynamic that I never ever thought that I would see
She used her
in
as
a
a weapon.
tag team match. I've seen people use their tag team partners as weapons in tag team matches before. That's always been a thing, but just randomly just turning to her, kicking her in the gut, and then just suplexing her. I just was not expecting that. This is not lasting long, and
No.
we'll just see how it goes. A random feud between those two is not something that I just simply did not expect either, because it's just a feud to have a feud, but I don't mind it. I guess it's shoot instead. Two of the best kind of actual wrestlers that they have in that division, so go for it.
And two of the longest tenured, I think, in AEW too. So
yeah,
I don't see why not. I mean, again, we keep talking heavily about Double or Nothing. Again, that's around the corner, so probably another match for Double or Nothing. Nothing really at stake.
just a good undercard match to have.
Yeah, and I don't mind it. I think they're going to produce a good match. But of course, Divine Dominion retain the women's tag team titles. Again, like I said, I don't know what's next for them. Again, they are kind of running thin on tag teams very quickly. So, your thoughts on this match?
I mean, the match is fine. I realistically do not know what to do with Divine Dominion as we head towards Double or Nothing. I would personally look, if it were up to me, I'd get Sisters of Sin in there. I would. They need
long overdue.
it's so long overdue at this point, but like, I mean, dude, like you got to get those two on a big stage. You have to. I think when it comes down to it, that's literally one of, besides Divine Dominion and besides the Brawling Birds, what other legit tag team in this division that you have in this company? No one else other than Sisters of Sin. And I just think that at the end of the day, you had these two right in the palm of your hands to become the inaugural tag team champions when you had them. And then you didn't give them the tag team titles at that point in time. Harley and Cameron, yes, Harley and Cameron, that's hilarious. Harley and Willow, yes, you have those. And that's great. And that's fine. But, and I know that would just be a heel versus heel type of scenario between Sisters of Sin and Divine Dominion, but what else do you got?
What else are you going to do?
You don't have anything else.
So
I don't know. But,
and Harley and Willow, I think Harley and Willow's done. Personally, they lost the titles, and there was no mention of a rematch. And then Willow just went off defending the TBS championship, and Harley hasn't been seen since.
Yeah,
so, I think that's done. I think that was a one and done kind of deal. I don't think they're teaming again. Because you put Harley with somebody else and have her team make another tag team, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? You don't have a division. There's no win left. So you might as well. I don't know. We'll definitely have to see. The next thing we saw Renee backstage with Don Callis, and of course Andrade. MJF interrupts and says Andrade basically has ruined this company, and Darby is on his reign of terror. And Andrade basically just keeps pestering MJF by just saying, "Well, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know?" Don Callis obviously has to get involved and break things up because they were about to go to blows right then and there. This is a match that's we keep talking about that's eventually going to happen, probably after MJF wins back the AEW World Championship from Darby Allin. So again, a match I think is highly touted, and I think going to be a good match, 1-on-1 eventually when that does happen. But yeah, I mean, again, not a whole lot here, but again, they're still in some kind of working relationship with Don Callis, the Don Callis family, and MJF to some certain extent. Does that play a part in whatever MJF has to put on the line or sacrifice to get back or to be granted an AEW World Championship rematch against Darby Allin? I don't know yet. I don't. If so, what the heck does Don Callis have, or that he could give MJF that MJF didn't say? I don't know. That's even more confusing. So I have no idea what they do there. Don't know what they're working with now that MJF is no longer the world champion. Don't know what their working relationship still really is. Andrade is chasing the world title, which MJF no longer has. So now he's realistically chasing Darby Allin. So I don't know. We'll see there. Your thoughts on this?
The thing is, like, we have been talking about MJF and Andrade for quite some time. And honestly, to be completely fair in all of this is probably one of like the quote unquote longest term of a story that AEW has right now. Because when it finally goes to blows between MJF and Andrade, it should be a very highly anticipated match because they've built this for quite some time now.
Yep.
That ultimately will happen when MJF gets his championship back. I fully expect MJF to get the championship back within the next couple of weeks, or by the time we get to Double or Nothing, at the very latest, maybe like the Dynamite after Double or Nothing or something, just because Darby won it on an episode of Dynamite, for God's sakes. But by the time that MJF gets the championship back, we are going to be running him and Andrade, and it's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, it's kind of like a long tenured story that people just probably seemingly don't see right now, but it's there if they want to tell it, and they most likely will when the time's right.
The next match we had another very brief squash match with Rush taking on Steven Fuerte. Again, Shivani, I think, described this the best, and this is just a one-man assault by Rush. Just absolutely demolished this guy. 1, 2, 3, not much here. I guess Rush's thing now, because he grabs the mic after the match, and I guess I don't know how long this has been his shtick or his one-liner or whatever, but now he's saying, once you mess with the Bulls, you get the horns.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was in on it. Everybody was saying it. So they're kind of building up that momentum for Rush. What's Rush going to do? What are they going to have Rush do or become?
Plan?
I don't know. I don't know. I always have to ask that question because when you start seeing them on TV more and we start seeing the crowd get behind them, it feels important, but then they never go anywhere with it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess it's a babyface turn for Rush or whatever. Sure, but I don't know how far that goes or how long that really lasts. How much juice is really behind that?
Yeah,
we'll have to see, I guess. Your thoughts on that?
It's fair to ask that question because you see from time to time they do stuff with Rush here and there, and it never realistically materializes in anything. But this time around, I feel like I've always said this. I've said this on the show in the past, and I've said this in numerous other occasions. This man deserves to be more on television. The guy is incredible. And obviously you hear what the crowd was doing with him tonight. They get behind him. They do. And the thing is, that whole entire catchphrase of like, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, it's been a thing for him his entire existence. But now all of a sudden it's just catching on fire. Like, now is the time where it's finally kind of, it's working in the sense to where people are finally catching up on it and they are seeing what this guy can be and can do. And they're like, all right, let's get behind this guy. Let's show AEW that this guy deserves to be something more than what he is. Because this man has been in this trios division ever since he came into this company. He doesn't need to be in the trios division anymore. He doesn't need to be with Sammy. He doesn't need to be with his brother Drew Listico. He needs to be a solo act and go after championships that are meant for him. TNT Championship, International Championship. You can do something with him in the Continental Classic and try to have him go far into the C2 to possibly get this Continental Championship. There is something for him to do as a solo guy. But the machine has to get behind him. And that's the only issue when it comes down to this company, because there's so many other people in this company that they have to get behind that people just fall short. And if you don't have that kind of charisma, which you clearly has now, after what the crowd was feeling with him tonight, you kind of just get lost. So hopefully, what they heard tonight lights a fire in their ass and say, all right, let's actually see what this kid can do. Because there's a lot more to him than what people see.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that.
At least
Like I
I
said,
feel that way. Maybe
No,
people don't see
I
it that
think
way.
I definitely agree with you. I agree with everything you said. I think Roosh is an amazing talent. It really didn't take me long to catch on to what he's capable of, and I think he's fantastic. Honestly, now again, him being a solo act, I think I like that as well. But just with the slight backing of LFI, because I like
Yeah.
LFI, I just really do. I think they have a cool look. They can also do more. I think as a group. So just with that slight backing of them, just to add on to something for his presentation and his character, I wouldn't mind that either, though. So I wouldn't necessarily just forget about the other members of LFI.
I will say this though, because we had on the graphic where they show like the entire match card of everything, we had 2 in action graphics with this card tonight. We had obviously the Brawling Birds in action and Roosh in action. Whenever it comes down to them being in action, it clearly shows me that they're just going to be in a squash match and they're going to get a win.
Every time.
Most of the time when that happens, I just brush it off because, like, obviously it's a squash match and they are just going to get the win. I want. It's not that, like, there's not a place for these kind of squash matches. There are in some certain aspects. But getting somebody over in a squash match just for the sake of it being a squash match, to me, is not the best way to kind of start things out. I need to see this guy in the ring for a longer period of time.
Fair.
I need to see him go in the trenches. I need to see what he can do in a longer type of form of a match so that if they realistically want to get behind somebody like Roosh, he can get in there, go in there with the best of them, go in there in the trenches and actually make a work out of it, because I mean, we all know that this guy can go. But doing a match, and I'm sorry for my ignorance, I don't know the guy's name. But just going in there just for like the 2 minutes that he had. There you go. Just going in there for the 2 minutes that he had, doesn't show him justice. He does his hit, he does his greatest hits, and then he's out of there. Like, do something more with him. That's just what I want.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that for sure. We seen last week, I do believe, the return of Samoa Joe, and of course he returns back with the Ops. The Ops have now recruited a new member, a very unexpected member, in Anthony Bowens. So they're backstage again, basically promoting Collision because Hook is facing. Who is he facing? He's facing Kevin Knight for the TNT Championship.
TNT title. Yep.
He's not obviously winning the TNT title, but it's very interesting development for Collision and what they're doing over there for Collision. Didn't really listen to too much of what Samoa Joe had to say here. Obviously, he was putting over Anthony Bowens as the newest member of the Ops. The man has been underappreciated, and he's won multiple championships within this company. So, and then of course he put over Hook, saying he's the future king of TNT, as he will beat Kevin Knight for the TNT Championship on Collision. So, again, an interesting development here with a new member of Anthony Bowens. I think he sticks out like a sore thumb because I just really can't take him serious after being the scissor guy in the Acclaimed to then being on his own, which was kind of the same thing, just a solo act, to this serious, and I just can't take it serious really. But
no,
we'll see where that goes. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, he stuck out like a sore thumb to me. I knew that this was all kind of happening. I just didn't see the part where it actually became official. I don't know if it just became official tonight when he was just standing with them, or it happened.
No, it was.
Or like,
I think it was last week on Collision or something of that nature. Or something.
All right, again, Collision. I know I should be watching Collision to fill these holes, but it's just not. It's just not for me. But yeah, I mean, he's there. He's there. The 3 guys that matter in that group are Hook, Joe, and Shibata. That's it. And Anthony Bowens, to me, will most likely just be their lackey or the guy that just gets beat up just so that the other three can look somewhat strong. I feel bad for even saying that, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of the truth. Because he kind of just is the guy that just is there, and he just doesn't fit. So, I mean, I understand, like, maybe they do want to just try something new for him. And I get that because obviously the Acclaimed, it worked for the time that it happened. But it was time just to make a change. They wanted to split them up. It obviously failed because those two realistically as solo acts did not meet to the standards that I think AEW wanted them to. And now they're just trying to find something new for Anthony. And who knows what the heck Max is doing? So
I have no idea. I was thinking the same thing.
Right.
What the heck happened to Max?
So I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what happens, but it's not intriguing me whatsoever.
We have another Collision promotion as Stokely issues a challenge to Orange Cassidy to face Dax Harwood. Stipulations on the line here. So if Orange Cassidy is to beat Dax Harwood, any two members of the conglomeration will get a World Tag Team title shot against FTR. If FTR wins, they get a Trios Championship match with the addition of Tommaso Ciampa. Very interesting there. Another random trio with Tommaso Ciampa and FTR. I don't see FTR and Tommaso Ciampa getting the Trios titles. No. Number one, they don't need them. Number two, again, it's another random tag team or another random Trios group that's not going to stay together long for a cup of coffee. So what's the point here? So I can probably expect the conglomeration probably getting a tag team title shot. Whatever two members, really doesn't matter. Again, FTR is not dropping the titles this close or the weeks
It'll
leading
most
up to
likely happen on Collision anyway, that tag title match,
probably.
and FTR retains.
So it's not anything I just said is not going to matter anyway. So yeah. But Phil, we have reached the main event. The main event saw Darby Allin put on his AEW World Championship on the line against none other than Brody King. I didn't really see much of this match, but I can pretty much predict everything that happened. I'm sure weapons got involved. I'm sure Darby wanted to dive off of stuff. I saw the closing moments in this match where the flooring was ripped up. So I'm sure a spot there was had happened on the solid concrete with the flooring on the outside ripped up as well. Darby Allin retains the World Championship with not one, but two coffin drops to Brody King. And of course, we had in the Raptors or in the stands, Kevin Knight with the TNT Championship over his shoulder, looking very good, by the way. I mean, they put like some extra wax on that because it was just shining. With the TNT Championship over his shoulder, looking on as again next week, we have Kevin Knight versus Darby Allin, probably in the main event again for the AEW World Championship. I'm gonna get your thoughts on this main event match.
Yeah, the match is fine. Look, the thing is, when it comes down to this world title match, I'm sorry to tell people this, but it's not about how long this man is going to be champion for. It's about the championship matches that he has along the way. This championship run for him is going to be remembered just solely based on the fact of who he defends this title against. He is going to defend this championship up until the point where he can't defend it anymore. And then when he does finally defend it against MJF come Double or Nothing, or whenever they have the match, it's going to be the point of exhaustion where, because of all the title defenses that he has before in the past, he loses his championship back to MJF, and we're back to square one. Now, the thing is, to me, that's not realistically that bad of a story of a match, of a story to tell with Darby Allin as champion, because at the end of the day, to me, it's not about how long he holds the championship. It's just that he won the championship in the first place. Yeah. So this whole entire reign for him has been fine. And realistically speaking, when I was watching that whole match go down and just seeing Darby win it in the matter of minutes that he did, I was flipping out about it, because I'm like, why the hell are you doing this to MJF when he literally had everything under control as champion? But then as you kind of take a step back and figure out what they're trying to do with this, to me, it just makes sense with what they're doing with the story. The match with Brody was badass. I mean, you saw Darby just dying every 5 seconds because he tried to dive at him and he just keeps getting swatted away like a fly. They did like a code red on the announce table that just simply does not budge, because that table is, I feel like, made out of steel, for God's sakes. It just does not budge whatsoever. Then again, tables in AEW never do. They never break. And
That's very fair.
I mean, then you saw Brody try to do a cannonball through the barricade, and the barricade legitimately exploded into a million pieces, and he ended up in the crowd because of it. Darby power bombed Brody onto the solid concrete floor, so there's that. And then coffin drops galore, one to the floor on the concrete, and then two more to the back and to the front of him to retain the title. I mean, the match is great for what an AEW World Championship Darby Allin match is going to be. And we're going to be seeing more matches like that for the entire duration of this reign. But the end goal is MJF getting that championship back. And that's just the only thing I see. I love Darby Allin. I think this championship run is going to be cool for the time that we have it. But MJF is getting that title back. And I just want people to be prepared for that now, because if they're not, and they just see him win the championship back, and they'll be like, why? He was doing so well. Because it's right there in front of you. So...
I mean, me personally, I'm still not for Darby in this title reign. That's just
it's
me.
fair. Yeah.
I feel like, because I've been saying this probably since I don't know, years at this point of this company. Yeah. They honestly, much like how they have done with, and I got to make sure I say this correctly, because I keep saying NWA instead of AEW. But the AEW, much like they created the AEW National Championship, which really just was copy and paste the NWA National title, right, or basically Ricochet. I mean, even though it's on Jack Perry right now, it was created for people like Jack Perry or a Ricochet. That's their title. I don't see that title really playing any major significance on television. I feel like, and there's always it's a problem now because there's too many titles in this company as it is. They just need a dedicated hardcore title, and that's Darby's title. You want him to have a world championship run? That's his world championship run, in my opinion, because then he can be kicked down any amount of flight of stairs. He can dive off 30-foot ladders and forklifts and go through glass or whatever. And while I don't want to see that all the time, I'd rather just see him wrestle more without all these gimmicks. Mm-hmm. It's, to me, I think it's a little bit more acceptable, because now you're the hardcore champion. Okay, cool. You're supposed to do that stuff. Yeah. Cool. So I don't know. For me, it's not doing much for me with these Darby matches, because he does this all the time. And AEW, they're sickos. They love the blood, the violence, and there's a time and a place for that. Like you just talked about earlier with some other match, with the squash matches. There's a time and a place for these hardcore matches and these stipulation matches. I love stipulation matches. I do. But with this company, they're annoying because they always do that. They do that in place of stories, because they don't know how to tell stories. They don't know how to tell compelling stories that actually wants me coming back watching each week. So they resort to, oh, we're going to have 1,000 thumbtacks match. Oh, we're going to have a barbed wire match. Like, who cares that you do this every week? So that's how I feel with Darby's run right now. It feels less like a world title run, and it feels more like a hardcore championship run. Me personally. So,
well, when I heard that Darby was just going to defend the championship week in and week out, I immediately just thought of like, all right, so and people came after me for this, but it realistically was what a TV championship was. You're defending the championship every single week until realistically you just lose the championship. So like you're kind of turning the world title into a TV title at that point, and we're just kind of going through the motions with that. Now, obviously, a world championship and a TV title are two completely different things, and that's exactly what they should be. But when I heard Darby Allin said, I'm just going to defend this championship week in and week out because I love this company and I love what this represents, I'm like, okay, that fits the Darby Allin character. But then I was just taking a step back because I had to when I first initially saw the championship change hands, because obviously they must be telling something that I just wasn't seeing at the time. And that's just what I kind of laid out there. They're going to just to have him defend this championship until he can't anymore to the point of exhaustion. And then when you finally get that match between him and MJF, he loses it. And it doesn't matter how long he has the championship here for. It's about a 6-week reign, month and a half. Doesn't matter how long the title run was. As long as he became champion, that's all that mattered to AEW. Now, to me, realistically speaking, I don't think he ever realistically has to hold a world championship ever again after this. I don't. Because they're going to do everything in their power to kill this kid in the 6 weeks that he's holding the championship. They already did it twice already. And this one was more of like a killing spree than the first time that he defended this championship. So who knows how much more insane these matches are going to get up until the point where we get to MJF, and MJF might legitimately just try to kill the kid.
Yeah.
Because who knows what kind of stipulation they're probably going to do for that. Because they're going to do some sort of big stipulation, most likely, like you said, other than the whole, I'm putting my ring on the line against your championship, or career on the line against your championship. Something big is going to have to give. And that's just when Darby loses his championship. We're going to get back to square one with this. MJF is going to win the world title again. But is it worth it? That's the only thing that AEW won't have to question once all of that is said and done.
I don't know. That's a really good question. All of this is just going to have the key thing that they fail to deliver on a lot, and that's impact. What's going to be the impact? That's the question. This whole what MJF has to sacrifice or put up to get the rematch, it's going to have impact. It's going to have to really resonate with fans. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a good match now. This is going to be even better. I don't know.
And nobody came up with a legit reason to me, like explaining the reason why Darby Allin won this championship other than what I said. And now it's just to create buzz during WrestleMania week. Nobody has ever tried to combat me on that stance.
There'd
be like, Phil, no, this obviously was not just because of WrestleMania week. Then tell me why. Then tell me why this simply happened, because it did not realistically make any sense for it to happen when it did. Now you're trying to make the story for Darby to win this championship and have him defend the title on his own terms, and I'm fine with that now. But I just kind of came up with that story in my own head. I don't even realistically think that that's maybe what they're thinking here. That's just something I came up in my own head. That's not what they're thinking. They're probably just saying, hey, let's just have Darby Allin win the championship for about 6 weeks and just see what kind of craziness we can come up with.
Yeah.
Nobody's combat me with that kind of like counter argument. And until somebody did, which nobody has yet.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why this happened.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I agree with you. I think the match at Double or Nothing, when this eventually gets made, Darby might be walking in there looking like a mummy, just all wrapped and bandaged up from all this damage he's done.
All
to
the
himself
exhaustion that he has throughout these
last
six
6
championship
weeks, so.
defenses.
Yeah.
He'll be a mess.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe he defeats him with another headlock takeover in a matter of less than 5 minutes, and that is that. I mean, that's exactly how he won the championship in the first place. It wouldn't shock me if this championship match between him and MJF again is less than what we're all thinking. Because everybody thought that this was going to be a banger main event for the world title between MJF and Darby Allin. Nope, it ended in 2.5 minutes. So who knows what happens when we get this match?
Who knows? We'll definitely have to see. But that is all I got for you for 4/29/2026. Now it is time to plug yourself. Phil, we're going to find you.
TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch. PhillyMet _. You type it, you find it. Do watch alongs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Twitch. Not on YouTube anymore because the YouTube hates me when I do watch alongs now. Actually, I kind of just was proactive because one of my streams completely got blocked. And when it completely gets blocked, it could lead to a strike. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to try to risk that. We'll go on Twitch from now on. And it's been a good time over there on Twitch. Trying to get to the road to 1,000. We're at like 355 right now. So please hit that follow button. It's the best thing you could possibly do for me over there on Twitch. And here's the thing. I'm going to Double or Nothing. So you'll see a vlog from me over on the YouTube channel for Double or Nothing. And so stay tuned for that when that time comes around for the end of May. But other than that, I'll just be pumping out short form content and some long form content that I have in the works for the future. But other than that, just keep in tab with my Twitter. That's where I get every single info out there, and you'll be set.
Definitely keep up with Phil and everything he's got going on. Should be a great vlog for Double or Nothing, so stay tuned for that as well. As for me, you can find me right here every single Wednesday night on the Boom. It's some form of what you see here, either me and Phil or me, Phil, and of course Metalcore Mike on every single Wednesday for another edition of the Boom. On Monday nights with me and Metalcore Mike after Monday Night Raw, talking about some Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, on my socials, you can find me primarily on Cam's Wrestling Corner on TikTok, my wrestling opinion and previews and reviews and things of that nature on there. So stay tuned for there. Stay tuned for that stuff. Lots of content coming out on my TikTok as well. And yeah, like I said, wrestling does not stop. So again, lots of content to be created even after WrestleMania. Like I said, wrestling is just 24/7. So we've got a lot of content to be produced and put out there. So stay tuned for all that. But that is all I got for you guys for tonight. Again, as I always say at the end of every stream, love, peace, and prosperity. And we are out.
Yeah.